Hi, my name is Larissa, and I'm a therapist here at Bay Area Mental Health. And I wanted to talk to you today about divorce and share with you a little bit about what I've learned from my clients as I work with them processing their divorce. So the first thing I want to say is that divorce is a grief process. Sometimes we don't really see it that way. But if you think about it, there are both really tangible losses, right? Like your home and your lifestyle and children. Goodness, those tangible losses. But there's also intangible losses, and I think these are sometimes the ones that get kind of short shrift, if you will, right? It's the loss of your hopes and dreams. You married this person, you loved this person, you had these, you had a vision, you had hopes for what your life was going to be like. You're losing a best friend sometimes. You're losing the rituals, the traditions, the family that comes with this person, the friends, friend group that came with this person, an activity that maybe you did together. There are all of these. You're losing who you are with that person, right? When you think about it, there are aspects of yourself that you shared with this person that come out with this person, and you're losing those. So there really are a lot of both tangible and intangible losses that you experience with a divorce. And I don't think, again, I think that we really need to honor that, the depth of that wound. And as a grief process, some people experience it and sort of they think of it as waves. You feel things and then you sort of feel better, and then you get sort of knocked down again and then you feel better. And other people experience it as sort of as a spiral. They think about it, well, they might be experiencing something and think, gosh, I already thought I'd gone through that, and now I'm going through that again. I thought I was over that, so it's sometimes it's both. So the takeaway from that is that it really is a wounding. It's a process, it's a grief process, and give yourself time. It's going to take time, and the longer the relationship, the deeper the connection, the longer it's going to take. The longer it's going to take to process it fully, to get through it. Years sometimes, to really kind of have all those tendrils. And it is a new normal that you'll get to, right? It's not going to be the same. It's going to be a new normal. So that's the first takeaway, I think. Also, something that is really important is that as you're working through the decisions about a divorce, so maybe it's really recent, things can feel very intense. You're activated, you're feeling a lot of emotion, guilt and fear and shame and so many different things, doubt, rejection, so many emotions, and your nervous system is activated. There's fear of what this means, fear of uncertainty. And so decisions that need to be made, whether it's financial or logistics, sometimes what I like to tell people is slow yourself down. So if you can wait on these decisions, or if there are some decisions that can wait, then wait. Put them aside. Wait until you're feeling calmer. Wait until I don't know if you've experienced where you go through something and things seem very urgent and intense, and then even a few hours later, a day later, a week, sometimes you look back and you think, gosh, I'm not sure why I thought that was so urgent, or why there was so much intensity around it, or why I had such a strong reaction. And that's what I'm talking about, is that in the moment, you're not really thinking with your whole brain. You're sort of in this altered state. And so as much as you can, slow yourself down, talk with a trusted friend, journal, do some art, go for a long walk, play with your pets, do whatever it is that really soothes you, calms you down. Deep breathing, meditation, breathing is always good, so that you can sort of get your brain back online. You can regulate your nervous system, and guarantee you that things will seem, the decision might not be easier, but there will be less intensity and less urgency around it. And if you think about it, your nervous system being activated, and that sort of confusion and urgency is really a signal that maybe now is not the best time to make that decision. So again, really slowing things down and saying, if I don't have to make a decision about this right now, maybe I'm just going to set it to the side and I can get to it later. So that's sort of the first takeaway. I think that another big takeaway is really allowing yourself or taking the time to uncover the subconscious beliefs that you have about this divorce. And what I mean by that is, society has these very strong judgmental messages around divorce. It's called a marriage failure, right? A failure of a marriage. And there's so many messages about being single also, right? It's sort of like, certainly in the US, we have this idea that, marriage is a goal. Marriage is a goal for everybody. And so maybe we don't consciously realize that we believe that, right? And so if we, if our marriage ends, what does that mean? What does that mean about us? What does that mean about us as a person? And so what I encourage you to do is to really take some time and sort of brainstorm, whether it's with journaling or again, art, or with a friend, or to just really take some time to figure out what do you think this divorce means about you? Not necessarily, and maybe I was going to say not necessarily about like, okay, I'm going to lose my home and I'm, maybe some of the fears you have that way, but what it means about you as a person. And write these things down, if you can. And because I think what you'll find is that they're not necessarily true. We have all of these fears and okay, I'm bad at relationships. Maybe this means that I'll never have another relationship again. And then you can sit down, right? Put that in one column, and in the other column think, well, how realistic is that, right? Is there another interpretation that I can take from this? This is sometimes helpful to have a friend, a trusted friend with this. You can also work with a therapist to sort of look at these fears and almost subconscious beliefs and understand if they are realistic, right? And sometimes, a lot of times, you'll find that these are just messages and sort of these core beliefs, that fears that we have that aren't really realistic. So I also think it's important because those messages, those beliefs are there. And to the extent that we're unaware of them, that's the amount of power that they sort of hold over us. And so when we take the time and we really look at them, sometimes they'll go away on their own, right? Or sometimes we have to work a little bit with somebody to sort of have a more realistic perspective. But the first step is to know that we are holding those beliefs. I also think it's important as we start to, handle the reactions from our friends and our family. You're going to get any manner of reaction from, compassionate and understanding to, judgmental and opinionated and everything in between. And that's what you're going to find is that that's those are their messages, right? Their core beliefs that they have. And so they're reacting from their own discomfort or beliefs about divorce. It's never about you, right? Their reaction is typically not about you. It's about their own feelings about divorce. And so as you're navigating these reactions, what's really important, I think, is to know, for example, if you are feeling guilty or you're feeling like a failure, chances are, right, this is how human beings work, chances are that you're going to see that mirrored or projected onto the person, to the other person. So I'm feeling guilty, I'm feeling like a failure, and I'm likely going to see that. I'm more likely to see that reflected back to me, not because they're feeling that way, but because I'm feeling that way. We project the feelings that we have onto other people. Whereas if I'm not feeling guilty or like a failure, I'm much less likely to see that reflected back to me from others. So that's really important. I think the other thing that's really important as you're weathering or handling the reactions of friends and family is having some canned responses to sort of navigate functions. Let's say, you're invited to something, or it's, you run across somebody and you're telling them what happened, or they ask about your partner and they say, oh, I heard what happened. And, maybe somebody says, hey, how's your partner? How's Bob or John or Mary? And you're like, oh, we decided to go our separate ways. And there might get, sort of this awkward, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, and kind of not knowing what to say. And it's wonderful to have these prepared responses to say, thank you for your concern. And that's it. You don't have to say anything else. And it just sort of handles that awkwardness. Or also really common is that people want details, sort of they'll be asking you these fairly inappropriate questions, and it's not somebody that you want to share things with, or maybe you're not in the mood to share it. And it's perfectly okay and helpful to have these responses. You could just say, thank you for your concern, but it's not something that I want to talk about right now. And that's it. You don't have to say anything else. You don't have to apologize. You don't have to, say anything else. That's it. And you can just smile. So I think it's really helpful as you're navigating, reactions from friends and family to remember those two things, right? One is have those canned responses so that you can handle the awkwardness. And the other is to really understand your own feelings around it so that you know that if you, are perceiving this reaction from somebody that, maybe it's your own fears about it or your own feelings about it. So those are some things about that. The other takeaway, I think, is anticipating triggers. So unfortunately, you're going to have what I'll call milestone triggers, or sensory triggers, location triggers. Our brains are these amazing things, and you'll be feeling in this deep funk and or just sort of off one day, and you'll realize, oh gosh, it was my partner's birthday, and our brains just have this interesting way of remembering things, even if it's not consciously. So anticipating those things, knowing that you're going to feel them, you're going to get your legs taken up from under you, you're going to go through these waves, you're going to go through these spirals, knowing that as you go through traditions, through holidays, you're going to have to redefine what these things mean to you. You had a family, you had, maybe you had a, Christmas holiday or, something like that was really meaningful to you. And now you have to completely upend it and do something different. So really allowing yourself to acknowledge the sadness, acknowledge the loss of that. Don't minimize the meaning of that. And then find ways to create meaning in a different way for yourself. Maybe look at the things that you found meaningful about those rituals and traditions and holidays and see how you can build them now as you're going through this. So those are some important things there. I think too, it's, as you're weathering all of these feelings, I think it's really important to think about, you have a broken leg, right? You have a physical wound and you go to the doctor and you get some medicine, you get a cast, you get some crutches, you set up people to take you places and you accept that help, and people know that you're suffering through something. And so they do reach out, I think, and they're comfortable with it, right? And so they know maybe how to reach out to you. I think that's an important point. Whereas when you're going through a divorce, it's we don't really allow ourselves or put those support systems in place, right? We somehow are very impatient with ourselves, snap out of it. You should be through it by now. It was no big deal. Or, we sort of whip ourselves or berate ourselves through it. And people don't see it on us, right, as we're moving through our day. And so maybe they don't realize that how hurt, right, that deep wound that we're carrying. And some people are very uncomfortable with it, right? And so they don't really know how to reach out. They don't know what's helpful. And so I think it's really important for us, number one, to allow ourselves to really feel those feelings, to honor that loss that we're having, that we're experiencing, to put support systems in place. So tell, your trusted friends what's going on. When people ask you, how you're doing, or if you need help, accept the help. Really think about, what do I need? Do I need people to make me meals? Do I want somebody to invite me to go places? Do I need someone to go to church with? Whatever it is that you need, ask for it. Let people know how it is that they can help you, as opposed to trying to do it all on your own or thinking that they're going to know how to help you. All right, so those are some of my thoughts around divorce. Maybe the biggest takeaway is kindness to yourself, acceptance that it's difficult, kindness to yourself, knowing that whatever it is that you're feeling, that it's normal, that you're going to get through it. Kindness, patience, compassion, understanding. And if you do find yourself ruminating and stuck, then do reach out for professional help. right? And get that support that you need, right? Or otherwise, then yeah, just it's going to take time. So love yourself through it. All right. Thanks for listening.